All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the patch notes have dropped for tonight's Fantastic Four First Steps update. And the update is going to go into maintenance today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then it's going to come out of maintenance at midnight Pacific on Wednesday, like right when Wednesday starts, or 3 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. So that's when I'll be live at about 2:55 a.m. to dive into the kiddie pool of the Fantastic Four First Steps update. Possibly the best thing about this update and all updates moving forward from here is that they have improved the maintenance rewards, presumably permanently. So after maintenance, you're going to get 100 energy, 100 boost points, a tier 2 character selector, which you can turn into like 300 bios or something like that, if you already have the character, of course, and then 200 of each tier 3 material. So that's very nice, like 25% almost to the way of a tier 3 character. So quite nice there. As far as the actual update goes with the update details, it's not great, guys. It's not great. On paper, these do not look like big changes. These do not look like the meta characters we maybe were hoping for to sort of usher in a Fantastic Four meta, or at least partial meta. Mr. Fantastic does get a brand new effect. He gets 20% HP. This is brand new on his uniform. He has the attack. He has the all defense super armor, but he now gets the flat 20% HP. That's pretty nice. That's probably one of the only. That is one of the few one of the very few new effects that any character is getting from the Fantastic Four, which is kind of depressing to say out loud there. As far as his tier 2 passive here with Fracture, the skill damage bonus damage is the same, and then the damage reduction is increased from 25 to 35%. His elastic body remains the same. His skills remain essentially identical. I'm not going to go through it like piece by piece, but essentially what they've done for all of these characters, all four of them, is maybe not thing, but even thing. They've moved around the buffs. Rather than actually giving them new buffs, they've just moved the buffs around to different skills. With Mr. Fantastic, they didn't actually move any of them around, but with some other characters, actually they did. For Mr. Fantastic, they took his Frenzy buff that he had on his fifth skill, and they moved it over to his third skill. And then the third skill had the attack buff. It's now on the fifth skill, but a lot of it is just moving around. Otherwise, all of the numbers are the same. 10 hit barrier for 7 seconds, same. Invincibility for 5 seconds, same. And the 100% damage proc, the 40% heal, and the 40% chance to penetrate for 6 seconds. This is all the same. Yeah. The only difference here, the only new effect they added for Mr. Fantastic is they added remove all debuffs. And then the 2 seconds of immunity. Now, the 2 seconds of immunity is down from 6 seconds of immunity, which is kind of a lot, but he does get the cleanse now, which means that his Fantastic Bounce third skill, iframe ignore counter, should be more consistent to activate, because he shouldn't get knocked out of it by a debuff midway through the animation. So that is good. It still has a very short 12-second cooldown, which is nice. And then they did reduce the cooldown on his fifth skill by 2 seconds from 17 to 15. And they reduced the cooldown on his fourth skill from 16 to 14 seconds. So those will come up 1 and 1.5 seconds faster, respectively. That's good. Like, these are all improvements, 10% more damage reduction, 20% more HP. But there are no, like, big changes. Like, oh, wow, they added this brand new effect, crazy kind of thing, etc. For Invisible Woman, I think this is the biggest L of the update. They did not give her iframe ignore. I think this needs to be really hammered home. She needs iframe ignore. It's kind of unacceptable that she doesn't have iframe ignore. Yeah, it's just kind of embarrassing. Yeah, it's just kind of sad. Now, she does get one brand new effect, the chain hit damage, the 10% chain hit. It was never there before, so that will make her do more damage. That will make her better for PvE. But let's be real, she's a PvP character, right? She has the cleansing support for all allies. She's used a lot for PvP. She really does need the iframe ignore. Her leadership stays the same. Her passive, invisible movement stays the same. They only bumped up her skill damage bonus damage by 5% from 40 to 45. Her invisibility shift is the same. And then her skills, again, are basically exactly the same with just some buffs moved around. So she does keep the accumulation buff on her third skill with the 16-second cooldown. They did lower the cooldown of her fourth skill by 1 second, but then they increased the cooldown of her fifth skill by 1 second. So it's actually a full wash. The rest of the buffs here with Super Armor All Defense, they're basically the same. They just moved the invincibility from her fifth skill to her fourth skill, and they moved the heal from her fifth skill to her fourth skill. Now, this is technically better because the heal is also in the skill that has the penetration and the invincibility. So this is a very, very good skill to give iframe ignore to. So she would have iframe ignore, she would have the penetration, she would have the heal, and she would have the invincibility, which gives her super armor. This would be the perfect skill, Force Field Crush. It should have the orange text saying, you know, attacks enemies who are in iframe ignore. But for whatever reason, it doesn't. It is what it is. It's a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. There's no other way to say it. It's a disappointment. So there's that. Then we have Human Torch. He gets a brand new uniform as well. For Human Torch, he does get a brand new effect. He gets 20% damage reduction. This is a brand new effect that he didn't have before. It doesn't matter. He's not going to be used for PvP, so it does not really matter. They did increase the damage of his awakening skill, so he should be even better for PvE. As far as his passives go, they're exactly the same, 30, 35, and 45, 45. Sorry, they did increase his ignore dodge by 5% from 35 to 40, so that is a 5% increase. Fire with Fire passive is exactly the same. The rest of his skills are exactly the same. They just moved around. Again, they moved around some of the buffs. So, you know, or actually the barrier is new. The 10 hit barrier for 4 seconds is new, but otherwise it's the same. The third skill used to have the 100% increased damage for 7 seconds. They moved that. They increased it by 1 second, but they moved it over to his fourth skill. And then they moved over the, you know, they have the heal and the invincibility. They moved the invincibility from his fourth skill or his fifth skill over to his third skill. They just shuffled them around. They just shuffled the effects around. And then the one other thing they added was they added the invincible effect to the 20% chance to penetrate. So he had penetration before for 20%, but it was only barrier shield immune. It is now also including invincibility for 5 seconds, but yeah, let's get real. We're not going to use him for PvP, right? That'd be kind of crazy. I don't know. And then the 100% damage proc. And then the cooldown remains basically the same. They actually increased the cooldown on his fourth skill. So there is that. So that's basically it there for the main three. For Thing, I was kind of hoping for a larger upgrade here. He does have 10% more increased max HP to the Fantastic Four allies. Instead of 25, it's 35. And then the other buffs. Cool. Yeah. That's fine. His awakening skill does more damage. Sure. The Family Man passive is exactly the same. 45, 50, 25, 35. Exactly the same. So, yeah. That's it. That's it for him. No new effects here on his skills, which is pretty sad. The barrier I thought was new. It's not. They just moved it from his second skill over to his third skill. The 10% HP seems very, very low, but it was on his fifth skill. They moved it to his third skill. They moved the 20% heal over to his fifth skill. They just shuffled things around. No real new effects here for Thing, unfortunately. I think they may have lowered the cooldown on some of his skills. No, they didn't. No. Yeah, so no iframe ignore for Thing, no reflect, no anything interesting. Not even the new panic effect or anything. Yeah, just kind of sad, man. Just really no creativity left. No creativity whatsoever. It is what it is. I don't have the energy for a rant. It's just silly. I'll probably rant. Like, I'll rant when I see them in game. Basically, I'm not gonna rant right now to the patch notes to the text. We have Things tier 4, which gives him 100% attack increase for 7 seconds. Then it also ignores damage over max HP plus 15% for 4 seconds. That's a decent, like, PvE PvP kind of hybrid. I wish it had more, to be honest, because he definitely needs it. I like this skill name, Grim Reaper. I think it's funny, but that's purely aesthetic. We have the Awakening for Crystal, Maximus, and Karnak. It's the standard 3 characters come in, bunch of colors, bunch of explosions, and then it's over. Very cool Awakening skill that we've seen about 50 times now. And then probably the only refreshing new thing of the entire update, besides the new sales, boys, because, you know, there's a new CTP, is the new World Boss Legend Plus. This is legend number 10. This is the 10th world boss legend we've got since Null back in 2020. That's pretty cool. 10 world bosses in 5 years. Kind of a W. Thanos in the Black Order. So this one's very, very cool. This is unlocked by beating Black Swan 5 times, Corvus Proxima legend 5 times, and Black Dwarf Ebony Maw 5 times. And you'll get a ton of nostalgia because we're fighting Thanos again, man. It was just so good. So, so good. Presumably, they don't say explicitly, but presumably this boss will drop the most resources. And for those of you that haven't been keeping track, it's now pretty obvious when you fight Null. If you beat a stage of Null and then you beat a stage of Thanos in the Black Order, you'll see like, oh, it's like double the amount of Carbonadium and it's double the amount of Godstones and stuff. It's a lot now. It's not really like, it was a small number going from Null to Mephisto, Mephisto to Gore, or Ultron, Ultron to Gore, Gore to Jean. But now that we've done that 10 times, 9 times, it's actually a really big number. So I highly recommend that you unlock this guy and just start farming stage 1. We'll be diving into him day 1 and seeing what he's all about. It should be very, very fun. The other surprise from this world boss is that he will not take much basic damage. And you can see that sort of reflected here where they say the basic damage, which is non-instinct damage, the white and yellow damage numbers, which we usually just think of as damage. The basic damage Thanos and the Black Order receive increases as Conqueror level increases. Now, this is normal for all of the bosses. This is like a normal effect, but you'll see specifically for Thanos, he doesn't really take basic damage. He only takes, basically, he almost exclusively takes instinct damage. So I think this is kind of important. But the other cool surprise here from Thanos and the Black Order is that you'll be able to get his artifact. You'll be able to farm Thanos' artifact, or on certain stages, you'll be able to get his emblem. So they're going to be introducing a brand new emblem for Thanos, which is pretty nice, and you'll be able to farm that for free. And then you'll also have his artifact that you can farm for free, starting at, I believe, stage 10. You'll be able to pick up a 4-star version of Thanos' artifact. So that is very, very nice there for players who want to build Thanos for PvP but don't have access to his artifact. You can now get it for free. So very, very nice. I love when new content has aspirational rewards, right? Climbing to stage 30, climbing to stage 40, climbing to stage 50. Reward, reward, reward. I always love to see that there. That's very nice. And then we also have a new CTP. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that this new boss takes very little basic damage and takes a lot of instinct damage. And then a new CTP comes out in the same update. And the new CTP increases damage based on your hero's instinct stats. So you can basically, I think it's made for this kind of content, this kind of world boss content, and maybe Black Swan world boss as well, where she takes increased damage from instinct damage. And I think you can read this CTP as kind of like the CTP of tier 4s only. So the reason why I say that is because it increases your instinct crit rate and your instinct crit damage. It also increases your damage based on your instinct. Now, for those of you that don't really keep up with instinct, before a character is tier 4, their instinct is very, very low. So just to give you guys an example here, if you look at Thing, my instinct on Thing is at 809 total instinct, which is extremely low. So if you take the number there, increases it by 6% of total instinct. What is 6% of 800? Well, it's going to be 6 times 8. It's going to be 48, right? 48 damage dealt. That's like pretty good. But if you take a look at a tier 4, for example, if we take a look at Invisible Woman, her instinct is 3,550. So that's going to give you about 240% increased damage. You can see there it caps out at 140, which means you're going to be getting the full amount. So the difference between tier 3 using this and tier 4 using it is almost triple the amount of increased damage dealt every 7 seconds. So just to give you guys that example there, I can't really give you a further breakdown. I think this is going to be a good CTP for certain content. I don't think it's going to be the new best PvE CTP for all content. But of course, that's just my speculation. We'll have to wait and see how it plays in game. And then we have the new artifacts for Crystal, Maximus, and Karnak. The first two are pretty good. They're not bad. And then Karnak's is actually quite nice. It increases damage dealt to villains and decreases damage received from villains. So if they made Karnak a PvP threat with tier 4 iframe ignore and immortality, yeah, get real, Alex. Get real. Yeah, they're not going to do that. They don't give anyone iframe ignore anymore. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But cool artifact. We have the Future Pass rewards here with the icons, and I think everyone's eyes are immediately going to gravitate to the shiny symbiote symbol. Yeah. What did you think I was going to say? Yeah, I didn't think so, buddy. There's a symbiote symbol, spider symbol, whatever. What is that? That looks cool. Does that mean there's a hint for a new update? I have no idea. It's sad that we're already looking for something better because of how mid this stuff looks. Yeah. It's sad. Update products. The hot deals are coming back, so wallets, be ready. And then probably the other best thing about this update is the improvements to Shadowland. So I'm a little bit torn, guys, and the reason why I'm not going like full psycho mode on these patch notes, despite the Fantastic Four seeming to be the middling, the mediocre four, is because the devs are clearly listening for other things, right? They're giving away Thanos' artifact. They got a new world boss. You know, they're improving rewards for Shadowland. Like, it seems like they do care. They just don't care about making characters strong. And that's frustrating. That's very frustrating. Don't get me wrong. And that's why some people are quitting the game or taking a long extended break. And I don't blame you. But to say that the devs don't care at all would be a misrepresentation, would be misinformation. So I can't do that. I can only say more specifically that they don't care about making characters strong. That's true, because we've had about 2 good characters this year, right? Magic and Storm. Sentry doesn't count. He was already good. So because of that, you know, it sort of leaves me in an awkward situation where I can't just trash the devs 24/7 because they are making good changes and they are making good additions. So you can now check the first clear rewards up from stage 36. That's whatever. They've added Soul of the Faltine as a permanent item in the Shadowland shop if you want to buy it. And that's cool and all. But more importantly, they've improved the Shadowland chests. So for those of you that haven't spent your tokens, and luckily I haven't, I have about 9,900 tokens. I was about to buy the CTP chest, which is what I've been doing for the past year since I spent a couple of months, and you guys watched a couple of videos where I just bought these chests, and I had horrible results. I never got a CTP. I must have wasted about 30,000 Shadowland tokens, and I never got a CTP, and I was depressed because I basically gave up 3 CTPs because they're 10k each or 11k each. Well, they're changing that now. They're adding, as you can see, they're adding a bunch of CTPs to the chest. So the chest will now include Judgment, Greed, Insight, and Conquest. So they're adding 4 new CTPs. You can see the old list here and the new list here. They're also adding Odin's Blessing. So they're adding Odin's Blessing, they're adding more CTPs, and they're increasing the chance that you get those CTPs. They're also removing hidden tickets and uniform upgrade kits. So those will no longer be in the drop pool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're taking them out. And then they're also taking out various growth material. Oh, sorry. They're adding various growth materials like Godstones and Power of Demiurge. And presumably the other, etc. is like tier 4 materials. So this is very, very good for people who want to gamble with their Shadowland tokens. If you don't want a guaranteed CTP, you can YOLO. I will be YOLOing and showing you guys in a video how good it looks so that you guys can get a better idea if it's worth it for you. They've also added some quality of life to skill effects, so you can see, you can improve the convenience of checking your skills. They're also going to allow you to ask for more items. The daily limit for items you can support requests has been partially improved, so your Alliance members can help you with resources more. You can also challenge Alliance Battle if for whatever reason you fail to complete it. Alliance Battle normal. They're going to reduce the damage in the corrosive gas stage of zombie survival, the hazard that pops up. They've changed the name of Human Torch's tier 4 striker skill, but no changes, no buffs or anything like that. And then they've added more of the Shield Archive collectibles that were only available from old world bosses to some of the newer world bosses and legends. So yeah, again, really good end to the patch notes with the world boss and the Shadowland stuff. Really stinky beginning to the patch notes with basically what appears to be a copy-paste for 4 uniforms that we got last year. And I can't help but recall that last year, when we got the Fall of the Fantastic Four uniforms, what did we tell ourselves? How did we self-soothe and placate ourselves? We said, oh, these are just the placeholder uniforms because they're going to get new uniforms next year and then they'll be meta for their movie. Long intentional silence here. Yeah, well, We'll see if they're meta for their movie, because otherwise, us from a year ago are going to be pretty pissed off. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. I will see you on the live stream tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, take care.